Okay, good day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Against the Tide. I'm your host, Chris Calatina, and as always, kasama ko po yung aking pong mga co-host, Brother Mark and Brother Marlon. And today we're gonna have a very special guest. Kasama po namin si Pastor Matthew Saki. Good day, Pastor. Kamusta po kayo?
Hello, good morning. Great to be on here.
Kamusta kayo, Marlon and Mark?
Morning,
Okay. So,
Pastor. Good morning. Morning, everyone.
And ang ngayong araw po ito, pag-uusapan po namin ay tungkol po sa family unit ng Philippines. We want to give you a little bit of a background of the importance of fathers, especially sa loob po ng bahay. So I want to start off by just discussing ano ba yung importansya na merong godly parent sa loob ng isang bahay. Okay? And let's give Pastor Stocky time kasi siya yung guest natin. So we'll start with Pastor Stocky. Pastor, what do you think is the importance of having godly parents in raising kids here in the Philippines?
The Bible gives commandments both to fathers and mothers, and um, obviously, as fathers, we have to be financial providers. That doesn't mean that that's the only thing that we're doing. And another thing I think we should highlight is that God commands us to go to church. He commands us to go soul winning. He commands us to read the Bible. But that doesn't mean that you read the Bible 4 hours and then forsake other duties that you're required, like spending time with your family, spending time with your wife, spending time with your kids. Because in Deuteronomy 6, when it talks about teaching your kids the Word of God, you're teaching at all times when you lie down, when you're
Right.
walking by the way.
Right.
And the only way that's possible is if you're actually around your kids. So obviously, the wife is going to be around the children more often than the father in most occasions. But that doesn't mean that you come home as a father from work and then you just abandon your kids or just dive into work to the point where you're forsaking your kids.
So, how about ikaw, Brother Mark? Ano sa tingin mo yung importansya ng godly parents dito sa pag-raise ng mga bata?
I think godly parents is uh, the importance of godly parents nowadays, especially is very needed because uh, literally it will help, like to it will help to you know I mean it will help like to avoid or teach kids to avoid what is the issue today, what is happening today, like fornication, and when they get married, to avoid committing adultery, because nowadays, like parents nowadays, for them, the meaning of parenting is simply provision, but you know, for me, as a parent, it's more than it's more than provision. It's nurture and admonition. The job of a parent is to to teach their kids to love and respect their parents, to to love and fear God, and transform their kids into becoming godly and better person in the society. Okay, because uh, I think no responsible parent who is a believer would just give their kids everything they want, because that's not the answer. And I believe also that the greatness of people is not just on material aspect, or the greatness comes from the from the word of God, from the values and principles you teach them. And because the attitude and behavior of your children is precisely the attitude and the behavior that you as a parent tolerate. So if they're spoiled brats or bullies today, lazy young adults, stubborn, uh, red-headed, that's because their parents tolerate them, especially the fathers tolerate them. That's what they learn from their parents. And we have to remember that real interactions happen at home.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Na talagang importante na yung tatay palaging nandiya-diyan. Kasi even if yung nanay lang yung kung nanay lang yung nando'n, walang ano, I think that's also one of the reasons kung bakit a lot of people are going soft kapag walang father figure. Kasi especially in terms of the father 'no. But I'll go first with to Marlon bago ko ano. How do you think Marlon yung importansya ng godly parent sa loob ng isang bahay? Especially fathers, kasi mga tatay tayo rito and things like that.
Of course, the Bible says in First Corinthians, the head of every man is Christ, and the head of woman is the husband, and the head of Christ is God. So, in that order, the 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 order of of kung sino yung nasa taas, and then kung sino yung dapat mag-submit is that the God or Christ, and then husband, and then wife, and then the children. So that's the order of it. So the family unit was designed by God, and with structure. So that's the structure. So if in my opinion, if the family unit is being destroyed, then you know you can have a lot of problems, and then the society collapses. And when the father is absent, of course, is authority is also absent. And when authority is absent, then chaos reigns. So that is the importance of having a fatherly figure, is that merong authority sa isang pamilya. And
Right.
and also we don't have to go too deep in the Bible. In Genesis pa lang sinabi ng Bible, and Genesis 18, verse 19, for I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him. So
Mm.
this is the Lord saying to Abraham that he will command his children and his household after him. So that shows us that the father has the responsibility not only to provide, just like what Pastor said, is more than providing the needs of the family. I think we need to pass beyond that, and ang importance ng merong tatay is merong maga-guide sa pamilya. Not only, financially, but also spiritually, and 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 emotionally. May leader na tayo sa isang pamilya. So yun yung maga-guide sa pamilya na sumunod or umayon sa salita ng Diyos.
And obviously talking about Genesis, right? There's a concept in Genesis 1 that everything brings forth after its own kind. And so I think it's important to really have godly parents that they set an example for their kids, because of the fact that if you want godly kids, if you want a godly family, it starts with being godly yourself, and because everything brings forth after its own time. And I think that's the right, or that should be the goal, because as I preached last Wednesday, the one of the goals of of marriage is to produce godly seed, just like what God said in Malachi, that the reason why we establish marriage is so that He can look there and look for a godly seed, right? Okay. Pero sa Pilipinas actually, epidemic yung problem ng broken family. So after let's talk about this, because it's not just actually kids that are being born out of wedlock, right? This bastard kid. But also, there's also an epidemic in the Philippines that yes, wala nga tayong divorce, right? Or but we have what you call that? We have ano yung
Ano?
annulment, yeah. We have annulment. But then, ang nangyayari is, kapag hindi na sila nagkasundo, still naghihiwalay pa rin, or they still separate, even though illegally, no, or not legally, what I mean. So, what do you think first would be the best way to to prevent this thing, of having broken families?
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to get to it later, but I think a huge root cause is the OFW culture to all of these things. Obviously, Filipino listeners know what I'm talking about. Maybe a lot of Americans will listen, so just I'll briefly explain. But OFW stands for Overseas Filipino Worker. And Filipinos are really good at English compared to other countries, so it gives them a lot of job opportunities. And financially, you're going to make more money if you move overseas to work. And so, a lot of fathers, once they have kids, will leave the home and be gone for years, maybe come back for a couple weeks and be gone another year, even for decades. And it's this idea of providing financially. Well, obviously, men and women have natural desires as they get older, and if you're not around your spouse, then adultery or leaving your spouse or having another family is, you know, just gonna be what
Like,
happens
yeah,
because
it's not
it's wrong. And so, I mean, it happens all the time, and then people end up having second families. I know so many stories of it taking place. And I would say that young people, young men should work very hard at a young age to prepare themselves where they have job opportunities. As parents, we need to train our young boys at a young age to be financially ready. That way, they don't get put into a pressure situation because we have a natural desire and inclination and need inside of our hearts to provide financially. And so I understand some people feel pressured, so they will leave the home. I would say don't get yourself in that situation. Prepare at a young age, develop skills, try to save up money, because once you have a family, there's going to be pressure to provide financially, and it's going to be hard to make the right decision. Even in the Bible, when there's a famine in the land, Abraham leaves. Elimelech, when there's a famine in
right.
the land, he leaves. And so it's easy to say you would never do that, but I would say finance is the number one thing that stresses out as men. We see that
Right.
in the Bible. I know that in my personal life. And so I would say you got to prepare yourself, but I would also say, you know, with the OFW culture, whether people want to admit this or not, and from an American, maybe it's offensive, but we're talking about the love of money to a large degree is part of the problem. And so I would say not put yourself in that position and give yourself opportunities because, if kids have a father in the home and they don't have a lot of money, God will still provide. I mean, they'll survive. And it's more important to have a father there present, in my opinion, than just having a lot of money coming in.
Right.
How about you, Brother Marlon?
Honestly, I agree with Pastor Saki with what he says, and I think that's also the one of the reasons why we have fatherless homes here in the Philippines. And I know I also have encountered a lot of stories about regarding that issue. Yung umaalis yung tatay to provide for their families financially, but the problem is there is actually no one taking care of the home already. So ang nangyayari bro, lumalaki yung mga anak nila na walang asal, walang disiplina, and also if there are males inside the house and they're growing up without father figure, most the chances are magiging sodomite sila or magkakaroon sila ng attribute na magiging effeminate sila
They're gonna be
kasi
very
walang tatay sa loob ng bahay. So I have family relatives. I can attest to this because I have family relatives na yung tatay nila nasa abroad or nasa ibang bansa. Pero 'pag nakita mo ah, hindi siya out of nowhere. Merong pattern. Nakikita mo iba't ibang family, may pattern na magiging, you know, sodomite yung anak nilang lalaki or yung mga babae, magkakaroon mabubuntis at, wedlock. And for the viewers 'no, siguro, we uh we should study because there are a lot of statistics out there that you can be someone who is growing up inside a home without a father is, most likely end up in jail or not finish college or get makukulong. So there are a ton of studies out there na it shows it shows that if walang father sa loob ng bahay, the family would be destroyed and be attacked within or inside of the family. So I also agree with what Pastor is saying is that sa OFW, the the thing is we should always when we grow up, we should always prepare for ourselves and prepare ourselves financially para hindi tayo ma-pressure na pag meron tayong pamilya out of the responsibility that God has given to us, pupunta na tayo sa ibang bansa just to provide financially. And I think that's one of the reason na nagkakaroon ng fatherless home kasi malayo sila. And also there are a ton of studies right now na yung mga OFW is also nagsasuffer, yung mga anak na naiiwan dito sa Pilipinas is also nagsasuffer ng depression, anxiety, and the kids that actually are being walang father at nasa ibang bansa ay nagkakaroon din ng mas maraming chances of committing suicide. So like for example, yung mga bata na yun, okay, masisira na yung buhay nila dahil wala silang tatay na nagga-guide sa kanila. So I think Pastor is making sense about that we should as long as early as possible dapat pine-prepare na ng isang single na lalaki kung gusto niyang mag-asawa, pine-prepare niya na yung sarili niya na mag-provide for his family and for his future family and all the skills that he needs just to, you know, uh, prepare himself na kahit hindi siya mag-abroad, makapag-provide sa pamilya niya. Kasi yun nga, eh, maraming maraming cases na masisira yung pamilya talaga 'pag lumayo ka sa pamilya mo. And it's not worth it because, my father I'm not taking it against my father, but kami lumaki kami sa probinsya, malayo yung tatay ko and I think, alam din naman ng tatay ko, maraming oras na nasayang, okey? So, since I think grade 4 nung lumipat kami sa grade 4 ako nung lumipat kami sa, province and then up to college, from grade 4 to college hindi ko kasama yung tatay ko. So, until now because I have my own family but for yung oras na nasayang na yun is actually not worth it in my opinion as a father and I have kids also you know having time with your kids spending time with your kids and I think that's one of the you know joys that we could have as a father is to spend time with our family and maraming oras na magsayang kapag lumayo yung tatay natin sa mga anak nila.
And for me, I think kasi sa akin, this is kinda a very personal topic about OFWs and broken families because of the fact that obviously I am a product of a broken family. Actually, you cannot really say it's a broken family because hindi naman talaga kasal yung mama ko tsaka yung father ko. They're not actually married. Uh, but my father is also an OFW, ironically. And what happened was that because my father was so always outside of the country, even the time na nagsasama yung parents ko under one roof, I really can't feel the presence of my father in my life. Okay, and coming from this standpoint, you just to me, and I hope this doesn't get the wrong message, but to me, because my father is just providing financially, so parang yun lang din yung dating sa akin ng tatay ko na alam niyo yun, yung parang he's just like a bank to me. So to speak. Okay, when I was young, because when I was a kid, because I just feel my father in the toys and the good things that he was able to buy because he works abroad. But at the end of the day, a kid needs a father. The Actually, that's one of the struggles that I have now, especially having kids, because of the fact that I grow up without a father. So ngayon wala akong pattern na kasi right, you sometimes I think Pastor Stucky would agree, right, that sometimes we get the pattern of parenting as fathers from our fathers as well, right? We learn it from the job. We learn it from somebody who did actually a good job. So for me, actually, one of the struggles that I have that when I got married, I was like saying to myself that I will not make the same mistake that my father did. But the problem is right now is that really one of the struggles that I have is I don't have a pattern to look on, except from the Bible, obviously, but I don't have a pattern of having uh, of how to deal with kids because I didn't saw it to my father. I didn't had that experience when I was a young boy. So, and just to put a disclaimer out there, kasi obviously when we talk about OFWs, a lot of people would say that, hindi naman lahat ganun nangyayari. Yeah, I agree, hindi lahat ganun nangyayari. But we have to also admit that there's an exception to the rule, right? And probably yung nangyari sa inyo was an exception to the rule. But in majority speaking, what it's not good, or it's not the effects or the effects of having to go out there and work abroad is not good. Okay, and here's the thing, gusto ko lang to sabihin that you can actually provide for your own family dito sa Pilipinas without going abroad. Okay, the only problem is obviously hindi nga lang siya ganun karangya, di ba? It's not that lavish of a lifestyle that you can give to your family. Pero it's just like yung ko-compare lang natin yung Pilipinas sa US, di ba? Maraming they say that Philippines is poor, and they say that because they compare it to the United States. Pero ang United States kasi mayaman talaga yung mayaman naman talaga sila. Pero in our own way, kung magiging satisfied lang, what I mean is, if we're just going to be satisfied of what we have here in the Philippines, I mean, we can provide, right? Maraming mga tao dito nakakapag-provide sa kanilang family. So if your reason for going out is, to provide for your family, you can do that here in the Philippines by yourself, right? So let's let's talk about the effects. Kasi kanina we talk about the causes, right? And one big cause is basically, the pressure of living or providing for the family. Kaya umaalis yung tatay. But let's talk about the effects. Okay, so yun nga, isa sa mga epekto probably na nakikita at natin to me, for example personally, it is the fact that I don't have now a father figure to follow, a pattern to follow on my parenting. But to you, Pastor, what do you think would be the long-term effect of this? Not just in the family, but also because I want this to be to I want this that our viewers can relate to. So, what do you think would be the long-term effect of this, not just in the family, but also in the society in general, of having broken families or having kids out of wedlock?
Let me first just add something on the idea of pattern. In the Bible, Abraham lies about his wife and says she's my sister. Seems crazy. And then his son does the same thing. It's like, where did Isaac learn that? And then you
Yeah,
think of Isaac and Rebecca, they showed favoritism with their kids. And then, of course, you see that Jacob does the same thing because that's a product, the pattern he learned. He shows favoritism, which leads to all kinds of problems in his family. So you certainly see, even all the way back in Genesis, that you're going to pass on traits to your kids. I think one of the things as a parent, we don't necessarily mind as much about destroying our own lives, but then you start realizing your kids are paying attention to everything you're doing. Like, you better watch be very careful what I'm watching and that I'm reading the Bible, and they say
Right.
first. In terms of the long-term effects, I'm actually going to talk more about the US. And if you remember 2 years ago, I preached the sermon, Knowest Thou Not Yet That the Philippines is Destroyed? And I really
Yes.
talked about this idea. And I don't think anyone at our church was offended by the sermon because we like the truth. But a lot of like-minded people online got really mad at what I said. And I guess it's because an American's criticizing the Philippines. But when I visited the US, I preached in West Virginia for Pastor Jason Robinson. I preached, Knowest Thou Not Yet That West Virginia is Destroyed? And I'm a West Virginian. I mean, I preached just against my state. So I get it. I'm a bit of an outsider, even though I live here. Um, and obviously, what I said in that sermon is you see abortion rates are just dramatically increasing, children out of wedlock dramatically increasing. Obviously, the LGBT is dramatically increasing, and it's pretty astonishing the rate at which it's increasing. But I wanted to link this with the United States because America, regardless of what people think, was certainly the most godly and used country by God for a long time period. It was the Pilgrims came over to the U.S. and there was a lot of true Christians. Even Catholicism wasn't accepted in the early days and they came for religious freedom. They brought true Christianity. And eventually, the United States replaced England as being the country that's sending out the missionaries. And, things were great in the US, very old fashioned and conservative, very godly. And World War II was a major turning point because during World War II, a lot of jobs were not being filled by the men because they're off to war. So women had to step in to take those jobs. Now, in that situation, whether that's the right thing, we could debate about it. Obviously, it's a unique situation. Um, but the problem is, after World War II, the women never left the workforce. And now all of a sudden, you're seeing both father and mother working and the kids are being raised at school and by the government. Basically, you have things like babysitters rise to the roof, daycare and things such as that, things that weren't really prevalent things before. And you actually, if you go to the airport in Washington, D.C., you'll see a big monument about how awesome World War II was, where women got the right. It's like, we can, do it or whatever, with the women, like, flexing
Yeah.
and everything, like we can be like men and all that stuff. And if you look at rates, though, in America of abortion and the LGBT and all these things, you'll see that is really the turning point. And instead of just having, the father's working, the mom's raising the kids, which was the standard, now all of a sudden, kids aren't being raised really by either parent other than just a little bit of time. The thing is, you get at the end of your workday, you're tired. Imagine a father and a mother both coming home, and your all your energy is going to be spent in cleaning the house, getting things done, and so it's very likely you're not going to spend much time with your kids at all. And so
Right.
that's the pattern that developed as a result of World War II. And what's funny is America did not increase financially as a result. Logically, you'd think they would, but if you don't have God's blessing upon your life, as a society and as a country, then God can take away your financial prosperity. And obviously, America is financially much better than other countries still, but America's tanking financially. You look at Social Security and things such as that. I mean, America is not as financially prosperous as it used to be. When my dad graduated college, he said that companies would go on campus to try to, get you to work for them. You didn't have to look for jobs. And then everybody could afford a home. But now most people, when they graduate, are living with their parents for a long time period, which was not the standard before. And so financially, it hasn't worked out for America, and you see the effect of sin. But I'm going to let you guys talk about the effect of this in the Philippines, since people get offended by an American stating the truth.
It's, let's look at Brother Marlon. Before Marlon, may sasabihin lang ako. Kasi actually, with regards dun sa sinabi ni Pastor that, it's offensive to talk about issues. It would be offensive if an American talk about the issues in the Philippines. But I think you should wake up to the truth na alam niyo yun, it's not really wrong to take criticisms. Depende kasi yun sa pagtanggap natin, eh, kung tama ba yun or mali 'no. I was watching actually a video yesterday, ta's pinag-uusapan nila yung kung tama bang mag-leave yung mga Pilipino sa and I was just like, because it's a video about three people na foreigners na gustong tumira dito sa Pilipinas versus three Filipinos that want to leave the Philippines. And I was like thinking na there are even foreigners, and the point I just want to make is that there are foreigners that are also loving the country, that want to stay. And so we should not just blow up or be mad if some criticism from a foreigner or from and by the way, Pastor is already a Filipino because he's living like what 6 years now already or right here in the Philippines. So yeah, Brother Marlon, tingin mo ano yung mga epekto ng broken family uh, dun sa Pilipinas? And what
Before I
would be
answer,
final
before I answer your question, I also would like to comment about the preaching of Pastor regarding the Philippines. I think that's a great sermon. I like the sermon. And if you're being offended with that, I mean, you gotta have to check your thoughts sa Bible, kung ano ba sinasabi ng Bible. And the truth of the matter is, the pastor is only teaching the Bible. And, you can have your interpretation, but you have to double check it kung ano ba talaga yung sinasabi ng verses na yan. So, it's up to you. But I think if you're being offended, you have to check also, kung ano ba yung mga principles na sinasabi ng Bible. Because if you're going to look at it, and may mga verses na nagsasabi na kailangan andun talaga yung tatay mo. Because if just for example, any
But
fathers provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So the context really is the father. Yung sabihin na naman nila, yung mga nanay yung mag-nurture and mag-admonish for their children. But any fathers provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up. So hindi naputol yung context. It's the father's responsibility to bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And so if that's a father's responsibility, you have to be there for your family, right?
right,
So hindi or maybe you're in a special situation na kailangan mo na lang i-work out kung paano mo gagawin yung nurture and admonition. But bringing them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord is indicating na kasama mo yung pamilya mo. Hindi puwedeng malayo ka sa kanya. Parang lang yung sa church attendance so that you can exhort your brethren, so you can exhort them, you must be there physically in a local church, right?
yeah.
So ganun din
Or
same as
the assembling of yourselves together.
yes. So, and when it comes to the effects, it's really difficult to find an effect here in the Philippines in statistics. Okay? Kasi ewan ko, wala masyadong
We
ganitong
don't
study
correlate
sa
it actually. We
okay,
don't correlate
but
it.
yeah, but here's the thing in the US, from base what I researched, it's 4 times more likely to live in poverty. Those who are children from fatherless homes are most likely 4 times more likely to be in poverty, 7 times more likely to become pregnant as teens, and 2 times more likely to drop out of school, and more likely to commit crimes or end up in prison. Okay, so I think that's the same here in the Philippines, no? Yung mga anak na naiiwanan ng tatay is more likely wala silang character, more likely nagiging spoiled brats. Okay? I'm not saying all, no? Baka sabihin ng viewers natin, lahat na lang ng tatay na nasa ibang bansa, walang character yung mga anak. But, the exemption proves the rule na merong epidemic na nangyayari dito sa bansa natin na nasisira yung buhay ng mga anak dahil wala yung tatay. So I think that's the effect of here in the Philippines na magkakaroon tayo ng degradation spiritually because the father should be the one who is leading the family spiritually, and if the father is not there, the family will be destroyed, and walang mga characters yung anak, at mga boys don't know how to be men, right? So girls are don't know what to expect from men because wala yung tatay na nag-guide sa kanila. And also, if there is no there's na wala kang tatay, churches will be filled with, people that are young people that doesn't have the right attitude. So I think that's one of the effects also, and also rising crime and depression among the youth. I think that's the one of the effects of having your father not being present with you.
Uh, just just some statistics that I pulled out from ChatGPT, no. Take buti na lang may ChatGPT. But anyways, in 2021, ang sabi nila, 1 out of 3 Filipino youth are actually do not have parents. And this is crazy kasi 1 out of 3 Filipino youth did not grow up both, hindi lang tatay, both biological parents. And in that 1 out of 3 people, sabi dun sa statistics, the main reason why there's parental absence in their life is because of uh, overseas parental work overseas or domestic migration. So that's 45, more or less 45%. They have 38% of marital separation, and 17% is only because of death. So there you go. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina that one of the roots really of having broken families is um uh the family or fathers parents working abroad, right? But for me, no, it, it's actually ito yung hinahammer down nga natin kanina pa, that fa- God is actually seeking for a godly seed in marriage. And I think that's only doable if we we stay to become godly parents as well. Okay? So ibig sabihin nun, connected 'yun sa society natin because even the Constitution of the Philippines would say that family is the smallest unit of the society. So if our society will be as good as what our family is. So it's important for us na we should have, you know, God, we should always be there with our kids, and we should train them and guide them. And I think yun yung hindi masyadong nakikita ng maraming mga tao is that, there is some uh, some what do you call it? There's some method to to raise godly kids. Okay, hindi siya kumbaga out of nowhere, di ba? We're not Calvinist na alam mo yun, kapag kahit anong gawin mo, right? Whatever you do, ito yung magiging output ng anak mo. Okay, obviously if you want godly kids, you have to raise them godly. If your kids are not godly, that only speaks that hindi mo siya ni-raise or hindi mo siya tinrain in a godly manner, right? So, um, meron kasi kanina nasabi na rin natin ni Pastor na you have to, excuse na, medyo ano ko. But nasabi na rin kasi ni Pastor natin kanina that you have to work, if as habang single ka, you have to look for a stable job, save para makapag-provide ka sa family. Pero can you still add more things na po pwede pang gawin ng mga single people para, you know, uh, makatulong sa ganitong klase ng problema about, not having godly parents or godly fathers inside the home. Kasi, one thing that I think would really help is, staying pure before you're married, right? You avoid fornication, right? Kasi one of the biggest, thing here in the Philippines is, people are, you know, just living in. Ang tawag nga nila ngayon, cohabitation na eh. Dati living in yun eh. Pero ngayon, ang tawag nila is cohabitation, and they forsake marriage. Kasi hindi nila maawat yung, kumbaga, yung flesh nila, and they want to, uh, have that physical relationship. But yeah, I think one thing that they can do is, just stay pure para maiwasan natin yung ganitong klase ng problema. What do you think about that, Pastor?
Well, it's interesting when you think of fornication because, you know, I preached that sermon series a while ago, Common versus Normal, where I talked about some people say, well, something's normal. What they actually mean is it's common. For example, in India, it's common to bow down to a cow. But does that make it normal? Obviously not. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Um, Fornication has, they'll call it normalization or normalized, where it starts to feel like it's normal. But really, what we're saying, if we're getting strict with words, is it's very common and you get desensitized to it. So you grow up in that culture, you think it's no big deal. Um, this may surprise people, but if you look at the Bible, though polygamy is a sin and it's wrong, God tolerates polygamy more than he does fornication. Fornication
Right.
in the Bible is, and it's surprising because I remember just having trouble when I first read that and heard that preached because polygamy seems so crazy, and it is. But if you actually look at God's reaction to it, fornication to him is a much bigger sin than polygamy. And there's in the Bible, there's people that are killed for the sin of fornication. Um, and I would say that this goes back to the idea though of having a father in the home to teach their kids, because kids at a young age don't even understand these temptations. They don't understand them. They're not gonna have that sort of desire until they're much older. And if we can train kids before they even reach that desire, then we can prepare them, set them on the right road. And, one of the big things is not putting yourself in that position, like make not provision for the flesh, because the idea that you're going to be able to withstand temptation, well, yeah, you might do it 99 times out of 100. And that means you destroy your life if you put yourself in that position 100 times. So fornication is a big sin, and the thing is, when people fornicate before they're married, often that means that they don't necessarily care about their spouse that much. They're more interested in the physical, and so it'd be very common afterwards to just end up, splitting and going your separate way. And then, of course, you have another example of fatherless home.
Right. How about you, Marlon? Ano pa sa tingin mo yung mga pwede pang gawin ng mga single men na, or mga single people, just to kind of help out, about, raising godly homes?
Okay. So, idadagdag ko lang din bro no, sa OFW. Mm, For those who are still, deciding whether to go abroad, or I think the challenge would be you should weigh the trade. Is it worth it? You should ask yourself, is it worth it? Because if the cost is if if if, if the cost is your marriage getting destroyed, dahil aalis ka din sa Pilipinas para makapag-provide ng mas maayos, is your children's state and your family's unity. I think those are the two things that that you can control if you're here with them. And then I think you should arrive to the conclusion that it's not worth it if you go abroad. So sometimes, I think maraming Pinoy ang hindi nakaka-realize that sometimes God provides in a way that doesn't make sense. I don't know if you I think you know that you mean sometimes you're just amazed that God provides for your needs, and God give the things that you need. and sometimes doesn't make sense financially, but they preserve, if your father is with the kids and his wife, they preserve, he can preserve the home spiritually. So I think if that makes sense, God will still be there to provide for your needs as long as you work hard. And when it comes to the about the problem about the fornication, I also agree with you guys are saying. I think it's one of the uh, really problem here in the Philippines is that they're making it normal to cohabitate or to live, magkaroon ng live-in, and also that many kids are born out of wedlock and being illegitimate. Dun lang dun sa statistics na pinull out ko, bro, and I also send it to the group chat. Ang sabi dito, moreover, 12 regions reported at least half of their registered births in 2023 were non-marital, so outside of marriage, with Eastern Visayas leading at 70.3%, which is 70.3% of the total births there are illegitimate on last 2023, followed by NCR or the Metro Manila, 68.7% are illegitimate childs, and also Calabarzon, which is region. Calabarzon is region, yun yung region 4A, bro, di ba?
Right, right, right.
Yeah. 63.2%. If that does not, alert you, I think there's a problem with that, because it should be that, in the past, I look beyond the statistics as early as 1990s, and the percentage are much lower than what we are currently experiencing right now. So I think the drastic difference of the percentage of children born out of wedlock is getting out of hand. So I think that's one of the things that we need to really fix, because they're normalizing now, being fornicated. So in just my line of work, sir and brother Chris, uh, I think some engineers could attest to this, but uh, sometimes you're being put in a position wherein some contractors will offer you to go into certain clubs, and that's the kind of how they enjoy it. All right, so they will make you fornicate or commit adultery, and I think I don't know, but in the construction environment, it's like they're making it normal. It seems like everybody is doing it, and that's what makes me sick. Is because though these engineers, these workers that I have is like they're married people, all right. So and yet they commit adultery, and it seems like it's nothing, it's or wala silang concession. uh, Kinabukasan papasok sila parang normal lang, and
They don't even have second thought.
yeah, I don't think that's I don't think that's normal.
Yeah,
That should be preached against.
right. But actually, normal means it has norms. Ibig sabihin, merong standard po na sinunod. Yun yung sinasabi po kanina ni Pastor, that when you say fornication is normal, that just means that fornication, you see fornication everywhere. So parang tingin mo okay na yon. Whereas wala namang rule na nagsabi na okay na ang fornication. In fact, sabi ng Bible, flee fornication, right? And sabi ng Bible that you should not engage in fornication, that fornication is a grievous sin, to the point that you can be expelled from or excommunicated from the church, right? So it's a very very bad situation na uh, or bad, not just situation, but sin na ginagawa ng maraming mga tao. But let's make it practical. Kasi ang iisipin nila, ano ba ano ba yung pwede nating what are the things that we can share that so just to make sure that our because obviously in order for us to make the family intact, we should work from it. There's this false belief that in terms of relationship, everything is automatic. Like if my wife married me, she's gonna love me forever, and the love and respect is automatic, right? What if I have kids and I provide for them? Respect is automatic, right? And you don't have to work for it. Okay, but obviously that's false, because really your relationship, as what the Bible describes, is you should do something for with that. Okay, like for example, sabi ng Bible, your wife submit unto your own husbands, right? And some husbands, wife, love your wives. Kung automatic yun, bakit kailangan sabihin ng Bible na kailangan nating mahalin yung ating mga asawa? Obviously it's not automatic. That's the reason why the Bible commands us, right, of that. So, uh, I want. Do you have any practical tips, right, that can actually help us make our family stay strong? Let's start with Pastor.
For those that are already married,
Yes, yes.
um, well, for fathers, I mean mothers as well, but I think we need to have the right mindset of what is success. And it seems very basic, but especially as Christians, a few years ago, I think it was at my birthday, or maybe it was at our anniversary, the church did a celebration, and they asked us, my wife and I, questions. They asked, what was my favorite Bible character? And by default, I said Paul the Apostle without really thinking about it, because I hadn't thought of the question in a while. But I remember when I was going home and thinking about that over the next couple of weeks, I was thinking, I'm not really looking at Paul the Apostle as the model of my life, because he was single. Quite honestly, I'm not really ready to be martyred for my beliefs. I was married, but I got a family. It's like I've got responsibilities there. And, I looked at it and I thought about it. And I think the character that we as fathers should model ourselves after is Philip the evangelist, because
Right.
he's like the coolest character in the book of Acts. He has like the greatest soul winning story ever. Chases down a chariot, preaches the gospel, and then he just disappears from the Bible. And you're like, what happened to this guy? Did he backslide? But then you see in Acts 21, verses 8 and 9, I'll just read these verses. It says, and the next day, we that were of Paul's company, so we're looking at Paul the Apostle, departed and came unto Caesarea, and we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist, which was one of the seven, and abode with him. Then it says, and the same man had 4 daughters, virgins, which did prophesy. It's not a coincidence that he's just gone from 12 chapters of the Bible, like chapters 9 through 20, and then he shows back up, and he's with Paul the Apostle, and he's obviously still serving God, but he's known as prominent because he's making his life more about his family. And I think common sense would say, well, if he has 4 daughters that are prophesying and preaching the gospel, that means he has a wife that's preaching the gospel. Because as wives, sometimes they get the mindset, well, once my first baby is born, and this is true at a lot of Baptist churches, I'm retired from preaching the gospel and that kind of work. My job is only to raise kids. So it's the wrong mindset for husbands. My only job is to financially provide. It's the wrong mindset for wives that their only job is to take care of the kids. And so all of us are fathers, and of course it's a lot tougher with kids, where sometimes we as the husband are taking care of our babies. We're praying they don't get a dirty diaper while our wife is preaching the gospel.
Right.
Obviously it's hard for us as guys because our wives are better at being able to take care of the kids and knowing the needs of the baby. But even if I get less salvations per week because I'm involving the whole family, it's like the long term effects are going to be better if you have 4 kids that grow up and they prophesy and they preach the gospel.
Right.
And the Bible says we are heirs together of the grace of life. And so if you're married, then God plans you to serve God together. So as fathers and husbands, having this idea that as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, that's a cool quote to put on your house. But are you actually applying that? Because are you living your life in a way sacrificially where you're putting your family first to make sure that your wife also is able to read the Bible and go soul winning, and your kids are getting involved in it? And what that means is you're going to have to actually step back from some of the things that you do, certainly from your hobbies, but even spiritually speaking as well, there might be less salvations you can get because you're getting your whole family involved. But I want my kids to grow up and love God. And the Bible promises if you train up your children correctly, when they're old, they're not going to depart from the faith. In the Bible, we also see the example of doing that. Samuel is a great character in the Bible. He's probably going to get a lot more rewards in heaven than I'm going to get. But at the end of First Samuel chapter 7, it talks about he's going from year to year in circuits. So he has like a path that he's going on to Bethel and Gilgal and Mizpah and judge Israel in all those places. You say, what's the problem with that? The problem is he has a family, and
Right.
traveling back then would be very difficult. The next verse says, "And his return was to Ramah, for there was his house, and there he judged Israel, and there he built an altar unto the Lord." The next chapter, right after that, shows that his kids don't love the Lord when they grow up. Nothing in the Bible is coincidental. Those verses were not placed in different places. They're put in a direct sequence to show you that as Samuel is not there, then his kids grow up and they don't love the Lord. And so I got my daughter here, future prophesier, Christabel.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Christabel? You're millions of people are watching you right now. You're famous. And so I think it's important we have the right mindset as what does it mean to be a good Christian father? It is not just going soul winning. It's not just reading the Bible, but you have to live your life in a way to get your entire family involved.
Right.
Right. And I think that's a great point that Pastor made, that if you want to make your family strong, you do things together, right? And I think one good example of that is basically when you serve God. Sometimes, you know when in serving God, most of the time, or most of the cases, hindi nila ini-involve yung bata, right? It's just the father, or if not, it's just the mother. But I think serving God as a family is important because, that's where your kids will see the importance of God in your life. And kanina pa natin hina-hammer it down na it's important na magkaroon ng pattern na susundan yung mga bata. Hindi lang ah, na paglaki nila, ito yung gagawin nila, right? So, yeah, I think serving God with the whole family is important to keep the family intact. Do things, together, right? Last episode, medyo binash natin yung government, right? Pero one thing that the government actually does good is, I think it's 2 weeks ago, nagkaroon tayo ng parang, they promoted Family Day, in a sense na nag-half day yung gobyerno, offices were suspended early. And the only reason is that, pa- people should go home and spend time with their family. And hopefully sana ginamit ng mga tao yon to really spend time with their family. Okay. But, yeah, do things together, so that you would be uh, more bonded, right? How about you, Marla? Ano sa tingin mo yung mga uh, practical tips that you can, share?
I just wanna quote the Bible, what the Bible says in Matthew chapter 6. Sabi dito, bro, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasures is, there will your heart be also. So obviously this verse is talking about things that you can do to please God, and the things that God will give you rewards for. So I think that's soul winning, preaching the gospel, and also doing things that pleases God. And I think one of the things that can please God is that you build your and inform your family and lead them into being spiritual. I think that's the most important thing is uh, also like you mentioned na like you guys mentioned, yung success kasi is depende kung ano yung success para sa iyo. All right? So
Right.
sasabihin ng iba yung success is pag meron silang sariling lupa, bahay, kotse, and I'm all for that. I'm all for your success. But for me, hindi talaga yun yung pinaka-success sa'kin. Ang pinaka-success sa'kin is nakikita ko yung mga anak ko na lalaki na may takot sa Diyos, mahal yung Diyos, that they're getting saved, and that they also would want to do things that we're doing. We're preaching and we're sharing the
All
gospel.
the kids are
And
awake.
I think that's what success for me. And and the example that I'm looking for is, unfortunately, like we also mentioned here, that the pattern is, I think, dito sa Pilipinas, bro, no? So I think konti lang dito yung nanggaling talaga sa godly Christian or godly Christian family. And so wala tayong ibang pattern, kundi yung nakikita natin is yung pastor natin as a pattern. And we can obviously see the life of our pastor is kung ano yung nasan ba yung treasure niya. Minsan, 'di ba, this is not to really criticize you, pastor, but we can see clearly that, you know, you're focusing on your family instead of, doing extra things for the church. And I think that's great, right? So instead of, staying or spending time staying with the church family, because you need to go spend time with your family, and that's why you have to forsake, the church family for your own family. I think that's great, and that's what also I would be doing if I'm being put in the same situation. Yung success kasi is nasa pamilya mo. So if you're building the relationship with your wife and your kids is the most important thing to you, I think that's where you should be, your efforts are, or kung dapat doon ka nag-i-invest dun sa mga relationship, you're building relationship with your wife and your kids, and how to train them and how to raise them and how to be godly kids. I think dun dapat. And so for tips that I have for the fathers is that, one is dapat ikaw mismo is godly ka. Ah, ikaw mismo is you have the character and do not live hypocritically. So dapat huwag tayong maging hypocrites, kasi nakikita ng mga anak natin kung ano ba talaga yung pina-practice natin sa loob ng bahay. So we can say different things, and we can a certain way, but our kids would definitely see that and observe that. And I don't want my kids to grow up and realize when they grow up is that I'm I'm not living but what by what I say, right? So I want my kids to look at me and be, I should be a pattern to them. So I think, first and foremost, you have to be godly. You have to uh, walk and adhere to God's word. And secondly is you have to invest your time with your family. I think that's the most important thing, is that you have to invest your time on trying to, uh, go out with them, spend time with them, and learn new things with them. And you have to do it intentionally. The thing is, some fathers are just not really exerting extra effort to build a relationship, and nagiging passive lang. I think you have to be intentional, uh, to be a good father. You have to be intentional
Correct.
to raise them spiritually, and be determined that you will take to yourself that no matter what, I'm going to really make sure that these kids will realize that I love them. Number one, that I love them, that I spend time with them, and that I do care for them, and I want them to be successful secularly, but also most important thing is that they would love the Lord and really have the sincere, desire to serve the Lord and love God. I think that's what my answer would be.
Uh, well, just to add up, no, the Bible says that when I was a child, I speak as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Okay, and I think that's one thing that a lot of fathers really don't do. okay, in the Philippines, that even if, like, for example, tatay ka na, tapos makikita mo tong mga tatay minsan nagmo-Mobile Legends pa rin, naglalaro pa rin ng, alam mo yun, they still focus on their hobbies and things like that. Well, you can do that if you're single, pero kapag tatay ka na, I think you should act like a father, okay? And, you should take priority, and you should forsake, put away those things that you don't doesn't make you a father at all. Okay, so let's start with that. No, apart from, obviously, serving God together, one way to really make sure to make the family intact is, you put away your childish thing. Kasi kahit na sabihin mo magkasama kayo, I would see how, kapag meron, especially that sometimes I'm outside in the world working, may mga nagrereklamo pa rin, mag-asawa sila, nagrereklamo pa rin kasi yung asawa nila, kumbaga, lulong sa Mobile Legends or something like that. Okay, na hindi na nila nakakausap yung kanilang mga asawa. And so I think it's important that, you act your role. Okay, that, if you're a father, you should act as a father. Okay, and so yun yung gusto kong idagdag dun, na dapat we should forsake childish things if we already become a man. Okay. We I was actually waiting for Mark na pumasok kasi sinundo niya yung kanyang nanay sa PTEX, but I think hindi na siya makakahabol. So, any last words, Pastor? You still have, you want to say something?
Yeah, just a couple last things. One, I had my kids to come in here. I timed it perfectly to make myself look like a great father. I promised I'd give them meat pie or something. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that primarily it's going to be Christians that watch this. It's not random if your kids turn out right. Don't get the mindset that obviously there's free will involved from our kids, but don't go to the extreme where you make it seem like it's random. Like, what's the point of putting the time? We have no idea if they're going to turn out right. I mean, if you'll see a lot of godly people that don't raise godly kids in the Bible, and sometimes it doesn't really tell you how good of a parent they were. So it's just you don't really know. You can just see the product. And other times, like with Samuel, we mentioned, we see a direct correlation. Then you see Philip, where if you're paying attention, Philip was a very good father, and you can see that you have to pay attention when you're reading. So I think it's important because this is something where we walk by faith, not by sight. I mean, my kids, my oldest right here, Zeph, is 7 years old. By faith, I'm going to put in the time and trust that if I do my job, when he grows up, he's going to love God. He's going to be a dedicated member to church. He's going to be a soul winner. And we do it by faith, not by sight. But it's important for people to realize every bit of effort you put in as a parent, and as a husband, and as a wife, it's not in vain. You might not see the finished product immediately, but long term, you will see the results.
In every labor, there's profit, right? How about Marlon? Oh, may humabol. Let's give him time to. Let's give him time
I'm
to
actually
speak.
calling my mom, so sorry guys for
Yeah,
heading out, but I'm gonna
yeah.
head out now.
Great to have you,
Thank you,
Pastor. Thank you
Pastor.
very much.
Thank you,
All right,
Pastor.
I'll see you guys.
All right, thank you, Pastor.
All right. So, humabol si
Yun.
Mark. Ano nangyari?
Ay,
Okay.
okay.
Kumusta ka na? Okay.
You're gonna
Okay.
take
So, yeah. You can say anything you want. We're gonna give you time. I think Marlon, baka si Marlon alis na rin. Kasi may pasok ka pa, bro, di ba?
Ha?
Oh, may pasok
Or
pa
si
ako.
Marlon.
Oo. Okay na.
No, just your thoughts. Yung mga gusto mong sabihin na, mukhang hinihingal ka pa.
Oo.
Pinakbo mo ba hanggang PTEX?
False alarm.
Bakit?
Nasa PTEX ako, sakto. Pagdating ko sa PTEX, tumawag yung nanay ko, sabi, yung terminal na sinasabi niya, paalis pa lang pala siya doon.
Okay.
So what Mark is catching his breath, bro, no? So para orient din sa Mark, nagbibigay na lang kami ng closing thoughts on what we think uh, a father should do as a Christian to avoid, having these results from being from results of a fatherless home. I think Pastor Sati also preached a sermon in Ezra regarding a fatherless home in Ezra chapter
Everyone.
10, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I get.
So I think we know for a fact that there are things that would destroy our family, and I think one number one reason is the father not being there with the family. And I think we need to take back the responsibility as fathers to be the leader and be the spiritual heads of the family. And and that means that if you're the leader, you're the one ikaw yung nagkukumpas kung saan direction pupunta yung pamilya mo. Okay?
Right.
So kung saan mo gustong pumunta na direction yung pamilya mo, okay, nakatingin yung mga members mo sa leader. So as a father, I think you need to really make an effort to take the responsibility and be a good father and preach strong family values inside the home. So I think the the one of the things that we can do as a father is wag nating hayaan yung mga naririnig lang ng mga anak natin from outside or even inside the church, or yun lang yung mga bagay na nagtuturo sa kanila ng character sa kanila or ng tamang disiplina. I think as a father, we should preach strong family values inside the home. We teach our kids in Deuteronomy as they raise up and whatever they're doing, we need to teach them diligently. And I think yun yung isang napag-iiwan lang dito sa mga tatay sa Philippines is that they're not really teaching their kids the proper attitude or having the right character. And and the one perfect example is being a responsible person. Okay,
Right.
so uh, uh, I think we've made the point here, and I think kung ano yung mga nasabi naman nila Pastor and ni Brother Chris is also what would also be where a Christian should be looking forward to.
Right.
Okay. Mark, you good?
Since
No, you can just add kung ano yung in your thoughts about how, because we kind of talk about OFWs, we kind of talk about broken families,
Okay.
and
So sa akin I think bilang isang mananampalataya na magulang, lalo na pagiging tatay, like what Brother Marlon have said, na napaka-importante yung responsibilidad natin bilang isang tatay, bilang isang ama ng tahanan. Kasi sa atin dedepende yung values at principle na kung ano yung character ng bata, paano i-develop. Kasi karamihan ngayon sa panahon ngayon, more on gadget, marami ng distraction, no? I think kasi para sa akin, pag ang isang bata is natuturuan, either you're believer or not, either you're Christian or not, kung natuturuan ng magulang, especially ang tatay, ang isang bata, natuturuan niya ng values, principle, katulad nung usapan kagabi, 'di ba nga yung integrity. Kung nade-develop yung mga ganong moral character ng isang bata sa loob ng isang tahanan. Para sa akin kasi kahit 'pag na-develop yun, kahit lumabas yung bata, kahit yung malakas yung influence sa labas, I think ako confident ako na hindi basta-basta mai-influence yung mga bata. So how much more kung ang parent or yung father is like, like godly or umaattend sa church or alam mo yun, gina-guide ng magulang. by the word of God. So, regarding naman dun sa OFW, mga epekto ng I think ng pagiging isang OFW or sa pamilya. Actually, karamihan kasi niyan, ah, kumbaga kung iba kasi yung 'pag sinabing broken family, I think, eh. 'Pag sinabing broken family is hiwalay yung magulang. I think, ewan ko kung tama ako sa definition, pero
Yeah,
'pag
yeah,
sinabi
yeah.
kasing 'pag broken family, hiwalay yung magulang. Iba yung, malayo yung tatay, malayo yung nanay, nagtatrabaho 'no. Pero ang epekto kasi nun kadalasan talaga is, napo-provide mo nga yung gusto ng mga anak mo, pero yung I think, mas importante pa rin kasi yung oras, eh, para sa'kin. So, kung yung question na na sasabihin natin na worth it ba na mag-OFW ang isang tatay, which is malaking role siya sa isang pamilya. Para sa'kin, ah, kumbaga kung sa isang regular na tatay mo tatanungin 'yan, sa kanila hindi nila kasi naiintindihan, eh, yung kahalagahan ng isang pagiging tatay sa loob ng isang tahanan. So, sakripisyo sa part ng mga OFW, pero para sa'kin kung bilang isang mananampalataya, kung marunong lang tayong makuntento at kung kaya naman natin buhayin dito sa Pilipinas, so why not, 'di ba? At least kung kaya mong tiisin yung hirap, at least kasama mo yung pamilya mo. Kasi kadalasan 'pag ganyang mga OFW, ang problema is, ah, hindi mo nasusubaybayan yung anak mo pagdating mo ng Pilipinas. Yung anak mo malayo yung loob sa'yo, alam mo yun? Tsaka kayo mag-a-adjust na dapat nandun ka nung simula pa lang nung bata yung anak mo, gina-guide mo na. Then yun, siguro para sa'kin, yung time sa family mas importante kasi yun yung first ministry mo, eh, na binigay sa'yo ng Diyos, eh. So, para sa'kin, yung time sa family yun ang importante. Kasi 'pag, sabi nga nila 'di ba 'pag ang mga bata malaki na 'yan, tapos wala kang time, tapos isipin na lang natin kung halimbawa lagi mong pinapalo yung mga bata tapos lumaki sila, wala kang time sa kanila, anong iisipin ng mga bata? May panahon lang sa'kin yung magulang ko pagpapaluin ako, 'di ba? So, para sa'kin yung time is napakaimportante kasi hindi mo na maibabalik yan, eh, 'pag lumaki na yung mga bata. So, yung mai-instill sa memory ng mga anak natin kung may time tayo na binibigay nilalaan sa mga anak natin, yun yung maaalala nila na kahit pagtanda natin, grateful sila na yung magulang nila is kahit, nagsakripisyo na alam mo yun, na hindi na pumunta sa ibang bansa, nagtrabaho dito, nagsumikap, yun ang para sa'kin.
Okay. So I think that's gonna be that it for this episode. Thank you very much guys sa pagsama sa akin, Brother Mark, Brother Marlon. And again,
Thank you.
thank you bro. And again,
Yan
just
na.
one, yeah, it's okay bro. And again, I just wanna make sure that uh, our listeners subscribe po kayo sa channel po namin, Facebook, we're in YouTube, and soon we're gonna be in Facebook and in TikTok. But
Yeah.
make sure to like and subscribe. And again, see you on the next Against the Tide.